The Grabber is back in Black Phone 2, but does this movie suffer from sequelitis? That's what we're going to talk about. Let's get started on this spoiler-free review. 4 years after the events of the original Black Phone movie, Finn is now 17 years old and struggles to adapt to a normal life. Meanwhile, his sister begins receiving calls in her dreams from the Black Phone and seeing disturbing visions of 3 boys being stalked at a winter camp known as Alpine Lake. Now, this movie is a pretty far departure from the original. The original movie, the simplicity behind it was what made this movie great. We had a stalker who kidnapped kids, unalived them, I guess we'll say, and Finn was his latest victim, trapped in this basement, receiving calls from the victims who are now passed away, helping him to escape. Eventually, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, tough, he kills the Grabber in the very end. But now, the Grabber takes on a whole new entity, or he is the entity, and that makes this movie very different from the first. The thing with this movie is more supernatural than thriller. And you can very much see the inspiration taking from Nightmare on Elm Street. I know everybody's saying it. Nightmare on Elm Street is all over this movie. And you know what? That's fine, because I feel like they do it on purpose. This wasn't some accidental thing. They purposely added elements of Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger into this, all the way down to the simple, cheesy special effects from the 80s. How the victim will spin in a circle mid-air in real life while he's being turned in a dream. How they're very stiff and spinning in the air. That's in here. So we're getting those kind of effects. But I do like how they also had this very grainy, distorted image from when they're in the dream sequence, so to speak. They're in the dream and acting things out. And then in reality, it's a very clear, different picture. So there are a lot of cool elements to this movie. And Finn, he's I'm not going to say he's the #1 main character here. He's #2, I want to say. His sister Gwen is #1. She is having all these dreams. The thing about this is it's so supernatural that if you loved the simplicity of the first, you're probably not going to like this. This movie was okay to me in a lot of regards because it wasn't as good as the original, but it wasn't a bad movie, but it's also a movie that I'm going to probably forget existed in about a month. But I love the visuals behind this movie. The visuals are so good. The way they separated the dream sequences from real life. I love the gore in here. There's more gore in here than the original. I'll say that. So if you got a weaker stomach and you like the simplicity of the first, this isn't for you. But the dead kids that they see coming, there's a few jump scares, 1 or 2, but I wouldn't say this is a scary movie. Now, the Grabber, he's different in here. His personality's different. He's more dark, more evil, more Freddy Krueger-ish. I hate to keep saying that, and I know a lot of people are saying that, and I don't want to repeat what's already out there, but it's true. This is very much a Freddy Krueger with a twist. You know what? Here's what I'm going to say about that. I wish this is what the reboot or the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street could have been. That's what I was. This is the perfect reboot of Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street. Replace the Grabber with Freddy. Awesome movie. Awesome movie. But because we had a certain outlook on the Grabber, the thriller aspect of it, the kidnapping, the very, like again, basic yet effective, emotional type of movie the first one was, it's only partially that in this one. There is some emotion involved here between Finn and his sister, but there's also a lot of characters in here that I don't feel really fit or I connected with. I feel like they were put in here as filler. There's a couple characters in here that I really I couldn't stand, but maybe they were put in there purposefully just to hate them because I could have done without them completely. If we'd have eliminated two of these characters, I think this movie would have been much more interesting, and it would have cut down on about 20 minutes of dialogue and filming that didn't need to be there. I think the movie was fine. I don't think it's going to be mentioned to be great by anyone. But if you're wondering, is it as good as the first? I think the very simple answer is no. It's just not. So it's a good movie. It's worth watching when it comes out on streaming. I don't know that it's worth going to see in the movie. I really think it depends. It's a mixed bag. You're going to have to make up your own decisions. As far as I'm concerned, it was okay. Probably forget it next week or next month. But let me know what your thoughts are on the Black Phone 2. If you've seen it, leave your thoughts down in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll see you at the concession stands.